Howdy, everybody. Last 24 hours has been pretty rough. I mean, some of you may know a little bit of what's going on. I'm here to try and clarify some stuff a little bit. And I know this is a pre-recorded video. It's probably going to be released in prime time, airing time, whatever you want to call that. Like you can see, I feel like a slapped ass, and I'm very tired, very beat up, and so is my mother. She's beat up too. But I felt, I don't want to, how can I describe this? I felt pressured to keep in communication with people this morning, and the little short video I did not present it well. I felt guilty because I was inside my employer's place of business. Even though it was kind of like a medical emergency, I felt like it was my duty to give a quick shout out to let people know what's been going on. And I haven't really done much content in the previous days due to my work schedule and demands here at the house with the needy resident and having another person observing everything I do. So I'm going to rehash everything from the beginning. Last night, came home from work, and I work 4 10-hour days, but I do not work very close. So I have to, just to remind people, anybody new to the channel, I get up at 4 o'clock in the morning. I get showered, do all my business and stuff like that. Make sure my mother's pills are taken at 4:15 in the morning, even though they're not supposed to be taken till 7. But for anybody who's new to the channel, one more time, my mother is elderly and she's dying of dementia. She has a lot of other health issues, and recently had a fall a few months ago where she fell and broke 4 ribs, 3 or 4. I forget I think it was 4, but busted her chin, busted her cheekbone. Just was a hot mess. So the power of attorney is here. He was supposed to be here like pretty much last week, and he had issues, couldn't get here, illness or whatever was going on, and so therefore, I had to continue to resume full-time duties for my mother, which is not a problem. But when I'm gone for 14 hours a day, 4 days in a row, it becomes very difficult to, you can't be a supervisor, you can't be a babysitter, you can't be a nurse or live-in healthcare professional, and that's when things can happen. Just a multitude of. She's not getting better. I mean, her brain is like diminishing so rapidly. I would have never guessed that disease would do it that rapidly, but it's happening. It's in the fast lane. Her husband had it, but he hung on for like 6 or 7 years. I don't think my mom's going to make it that much longer. She's in bad shape. And, she still has other health issues. It was identified to me a while back in the rehab center that she was in for her previous injury, that she has COPD. My mother does not smoke. It's a lung disease, that it's a debilitating disease that eventually takes your life. Almost symbiotic to emphysema. So just a lot of things are happening, but she's in December, she's going to be 90 years old. How many people can make it that far, right? I'm trying to make it to next Saturday, and she's trying to make it to 90. And it's just weird. Like, I see so many little habits in her brain that are so faulty. She gets all these like stupid ass phone calls, people trying to scam her, and like the first answer she always gives them, I'm 88, and like, because it's like Medicare or Medicaid, fake people and all this crap. And I'm every time when I hear that, it's like, just hang up. And then I tell her, first of all, you're not 88, you're 89. No, I'm not. I'm 88. And she, we get combative, and then it's just nonstop stupidity. And I'm the one that lives here full time. Even though like I work away because I have to out of necessity. When I'm here, I get up early in the morning. I do my thing. I drive 35 miles one way, basically an hour one way. Then I have to, coming back, it's more difficult because it's later in the afternoon. There's more traffic. Then I come home. I'm completely exhausted, whipped. Then I have to come home, and then I got to start a new full-time job. The full-time job is taking care of my mother. And I have to, wash my hands, make sure, there's dinner preparations, the proper healthy dinner preparations that there's the phone ringing again. That's another issue. I feel like a lot of this I've already repeated, but I'm leading up to something very important that I want to. None of this is scripted because I'm so damn tired right now because I was up since 1:30 last night. That's when my mother had her other episode. I'll get more in detail about that. But when I come home, I'm just so damn whipped. And the only tranquility I get is coming out to the lanai here, plugging in my laptop, bringing it in from my work vehicle, plugging in the laptop, trying to just literally just drink a cold beer, just try and unwind, and then go in there and realize I got to deal with the medications, the food preparation, all this stuff, all the crazy ass questions, all the repetitive things I got to deal with on a daily basis. So a lot of times it's never when I say a lot of times, like I should say most of the time, it's never ending repetitive stupidity questions I've already answered a million times with the ill patient, which happens to be my mother. So I felt like I had a little bit of a reprieve yesterday. That my job has been really slow because it's the off season, and like basically they're not ordering merchandise because they're not selling that much merchandise, and basically I'm sitting in a very small space and just kind of looking around, looking at the ceiling, trying to be creative in ways I can be a productive manager and be, just dust off a little, it's not dusty because it's a new store, but like literally just it like 10 hours can feel like 25 or 50 when you're sitting there and you're basically not doing anything. So basically I resort myself to, YouTube a lot of times, and I try and stay focused on the job at hand, try and look for new products. I do product searches and stuff like that, but that part is not like huge concern right now. It's just slow time. Sometimes the art sales in the afternoons can be productive, and they up the sales for the day. But during the week, it's definitely a little bit slower. And then like on the weekends, it gets more productive. So for anybody who didn't watch the morning video, my mother, anybody who does not know, and I'm going to start from the beginning. My mother has dementia, and she's declining rapidly. And I may be redundant in some of my statements because I'm so tired, I'm so worn out. But I felt like it's my duty to give you a proper notification on what's happening, and hopefully, tomorrow I'll hopefully be rejuvenated. There's a reason why I'm going to say that, and then so tomorrow's Sunday. Monday, hopefully I'll feel a lot better. Usually, sorry about the sirens in the background. Sounds like ambulance or fire engine or something like that, but not really police cars. But At some point last night, my mother, who has dementia really bad, I'm going to say that for the 99th time, uh, did not remember to use her walker when she decided to try and get up from her bed to basically go 7 or 8 feet into her bathroom uh, to use the facilities. She fell, and I was sleeping. I went to bed early because I knew the other son was feeding her like a chef gourmet meal, and they were doing all. So I'm like, man, this is like I got one more 10-hour day to conquer. I'm going to go to bed early. I'm going to be fresh. I'm going to conquer this day, and then I can approach the next 3 days with energy and vigor and all that, positivity, planned positivity. That's going to be the phrase of the video, planned positivity. So I probably was in bed 7:15, 7:30. I don't remember exactly, but it was definitely in the 7 o'clock hour. And it didn't take long for me to hit the rack and just be tired. I remember, I think I got up once or twice to tinkle. There was no noise or confusion. And the room I stay in is on the other side of the guest bathroom from where the power of attorney sleeps and resides when he's here. But when he's sleeping, he has a fan going, high speed. There's loud TV. He has some other medical apparatus that's supposed to help his breathing, or so, I don't know. Just basically, it can be very noisy in there. But I mind my own business. I stay out of there. I don't like going in that room. It's bad memories. So I'm sound asleep on basically a rug, a small rug over a concrete floor, trying to do the best I can with what, God's been handed to me. And I thought I heard like screaming or yelling, and I wasn't sure if it was, I just had like a nightmare or whatever. So I listened for a second, and I hear a French voice screaming my name. So I get up, and it's weird. A lot of times, it's probably TMI, but I'll just downsize it. For this particular evening, I happen to be wearing gym shorts. Probably a good thing. I get up, investigating this weird noise or sound. I thought it was just me. I just thought, I was just stress or something like that. So I walk into my mom's room. I said, "Are you calling?" She's like, "Yes." She's screaming. She's on the floor. Turn on the light. She's laying there. She's bleeding. She's and screaming in a lot of pain. She's in a puddle of liquid. So I'm trying to talk to her, trying to move her, and I realized she's in a lot of pain. So I propped her up a little bit on like her nightstand. I said, "Just stay right there. I'll be right back. I'm coming right back." So as much as this pains me to do this, I decided I needed not only a witness to what's about to occur. I had a pretty good idea what was happening. But as being the redheaded stepchild of the family, I'm not the power of attorney. I decided, let me just roll with the punches. And I open up the bedroom door and I look in to, this is where I'm trying to elaborate in more details. It's weird how so much crap processes through your brain. And I open the door and I open the door loudly and I'm like, "Hey." And I could see there's clearly a body underneath blankets. And like I said it very loudly. And then I say it again loudly. And I say it again loudly. And now I realize, all right, this is really going to suck because I think there's a dead body in that bed. So I pretty much scream, really raise my voice. And all of a sudden, like the body moves. So I'm thinking, all right, I have an elderly person in the other room. And on the third shout, I'm thinking I have a dead body in this room. So I'm like this is really effed up, right? And when he moved, I said, "Get your ass out of bed. Mom's falling." And he was like groggy. And I said, "Just get your ass out of bed. Mom's falling. We have problems." So I remember seeing his dog, Zeke. The crate door was open, and I'm assuming he secured Zeke in the crate. And then he came to witness, and I went in there, picked my mother up. I proceeded to try and place her on the bed. I realized she was in so much pain. The bed was a higher elevation than the chair that was right to her right. So I place her in there. She's screaming a little bit because she's in discomfort. Obviously, you know if you haven't figured this out, she broke her hip, and the blood wasn't real bad, but she's on blood thinner, so it can be perceived as being like worse than it really is. The liquid, a lot of times she'll go to bed with a glass of water on her nightstand and stuff like that. I I never did see any broken glass or anything like that, or so I think she urinated herself. So as we're going through this process, power of attorney's coming in, he's talking to her and kind of like firmly and doing his thing, right? So she kept telling me, "Gary, I need to go to the bathroom." So I thought she had to do number one based on what I had seen. I thought maybe she had a partial release of urine, and I told him, I said, she needs to go. Like, we got to find a plan here for her to do that. And then when he goes out and gets like basically like a dishpan type thing, he comes back, and I said, well, apparently it's not number one. She has to do number two, and the paramedics had been called, and we're basically like in a holding mode. And I'm not proud to admit this, but my mom does wear like adult Depends type products. I felt terrible that we could not allow her to defecate properly. I'm not sure if she did that in that system, but we had to wait probably 15 minutes for the paramedics to show up. It's right now it's at this point in time it's like 2 in the morning, 2 plus in the morning on a Friday night into Saturday morning, which is probably high activity time for them, with drunks and car accidents and all that stuff. So they show up. They were very nice, professional. Um, First, they said they were going to take it to this local facility, which is pretty much like an urgent care, like a 24-hour urgent care. And then that's what we were told originally. And then somebody else, like probably like a senior member of the staff, excuse me for 1 second. My lips are getting parched. Says, no, she's going to Mockley Road. And I was like, well, that's great. I said, because that's where she's been there quite often. They have all her records there. So that probably, and they said, well, the reason we're taking her there because the local facility does not treat broken hips. And so we suspect it's a broken hip. And I said, well, obviously we do too, So I concur with your decision. That's a great move. Thank you. I thanked everybody for showing up. And um, at this point now, by the time of departure, it's 2:15ish in the morning, and I realized I got to be up at like 4 in the morning. I'm telling you, it was like 2:15ish in the morning, and the main owner for my employer is on vacation, and I have to open up their business. I'm like, oh my gosh, like there's stress. Like, I want to do the right thing. And then I'm like, so power of attorney is he's going to follow the ambulance to the hospital. Before he leaves, I make sure here's her cell phone, here's her cell phone charger. It's obvious she's going to be in there for a while. So the biggest disturbing thing to me is, I have to go try and lay down, just try and regain a little bit of like rest and recuperation in a bad situation, just so I can get through. Just get me through one more 10-hour day, and then I have three days off to figure out all this BS, right? And today started off very slow. I did get up, I get to work on time. I was supposed to have someone working with me. I get there, I find out nobody's working with me. So that kind of like hampered the situation a little bit. So when I got in there to work, I rushed a short video, and I did that video, and I wish I could have done it better. I look like crap. It was a rushed video, but the only thing I kept thinking about is I honestly, like, a lot of people won't understand what I'm about to say here, but with her rehab schedule that is ahead of her and her mental capacity diminishing, I truly feel like yesterday was the last day she's ever going to see the inside of her pretty nice house. When I say pretty nice house, I would say it's probably valued around $600,000, and it backs up to a nice little pond or lake, whatever you want to call it. And I truly feel she does not understand that she's probably never coming home again. She may pass away, or she may. I'm not saying she's going to pass away in the next day or two, or but basically her hip is broken, and she's the reason they're not doing surgery sooner because she's been on blood thinners. It's called Coumadin or something like that, and so probably scheduled for surgery where they're going to put a rod in her hip, and she's almost 90 years old. Anybody knows anything about elderly people that have fallen and have broken a hip, you know that they depart the earth shortly after, because it's just hard for their body to recuperate, and their body can't handle all the stress. And so most elderly people at that age who have a broken hip do not survive long term. Like when I say long term, like 6 months max. So with her other underlying conditions, the COPD, the dementia, and the other things, I truly feel like when those paramedics showed up and hoisted her away, I was thinking to myself, man, I think that she has seen the last of her own house. How crappy is that, right? How crappy is that, and like the two sons were here bickering, and we're not really getting along. We're getting along a little bit better just because, it is what it is. And I'm trying to take the high road as much as I can in a negative, low down situation. But so that's what happened. My mom's brain did not remember that she should use the walker. The walker was left in the dining room, where it should have been closer to her bed. I'm not blaming anybody. Trust me. It's been happening even when I've been here solo. Her brain just does not remember she's supposed to use the walker. She tried to get up in the middle of the night. I think she tripped on one of her slippers, fell over, bam, bam, bam. I guess the fortunate thing is, I'm trying to look at the pros and cons, the positives and negatives of that fall. She was still able to yell and scream enough where I could hear. She was screaming my name. That was very memorable. And I heard it a few times. At first I thought I was just hearing things. And as I'm walking, she was screaming, and I said, I'm coming. And then, but if she had fallen a little bit more and hit the arm of the chair that was next to her, she probably would have died and just bled out right there. So when you understand the magnitude of what could have happened, what could happen next time, I truly don't believe there's going to be a next time in this house. I don't think so. Our lives are about to change. Mine's going to change. Her life's going to change. Somebody else's life's going to change. It's not going to be as traumatic for him as it would be for me and her. But she could have literally fallen, been knocked out, and just bled out and died right there in the middle of the night. And we probably, if she had done that, we probably would not have, it would have been too late to save her. So the positive is she had enough energy and scream in her to awake me. When I sleep in that little room, I shut off my phone. I put it on airplane mode and everything, because I don't want any noise. The only thing that sometimes wakes me up in weird hours of the night, the neighbor's sprinkler system goes off at weird hours of the night, and they have a sprinkler head right out the window, and I hear that thing. When it activates, you can hear the water spewing and stuff like that. So I'm not trying to bring drama to YouTube. I'm just trying to share my life, what happened, and I'm visibly stressed. I'm so behind on so many things I want to do. I need a haircut. I gotta cut my own hair, and then there was a payroll problem today that created a lot of stress in my life, and it's just like the curse is never ending. But I did want to update you guys, and I'm not here to bring drama. I know it's a long video, and those don't tend to get a lot of views, but this is what it is, folks. This is the reality. Death's coming. My death could be coming. I thought last night I had a dead body in one room and a severely impaired person in the other room. So I'm thinking, right? I'm like, oh, all right, great. Obviously got to tend to the living person. I'm just thinking, like, there's so many things that go through your brain when you wake up from something like that. So I got to tap out, folks. Sorry I bored you, but I'm just trying to tell you the truth and reality, what I'm trying to live through and try and maintain my sanity. Thanks for listening.